Welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast, where we take you inside our gym, CrossFit Palm Beach, each week. It's here that we are creating new superhumans every day, transforming people's lives, helping them reach a level of health they never knew possible. We strive to answer your most burning questions on fitness, health, nutrition, training, motivation, mindset, lifestyle, and more. If you have a question, please email us at info@crossfitpalmbeach.com. You can also learn more on our blog, livingsuperhuman.com. And if you have a moment, we'd love a review from you on iTunes. All right, it's time. Let's stop being average and start living superhuman. All right, welcome to episode 2 of CrossFit Palm Beach Coaches Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how can I excel in partner competitions. So my name's Andrew. We're here with Zach, Brendan, and Tony, all 4 coaches here at CrossFit Palm Beach. And let's get right into it. So we got our Deadly Duo competition coming up in about a month. Hopefully it'll be about a month when we play this episode. And first we wanted to kind of talk about is people that are on the fence. I mean, what are some of the advantages of partner competitions? Why do we do partner competitions? We kind of lean more towards partner versus individual for our in-house competitions. So what's good about doing your first competition as a partner competition?
As your first one, it's really good to do with a partner because obviously it's your first one. And so if it's your first competition, just getting into that competitive atmosphere with your partner is less intimidating, one, and you're probably going to do a little bit better. You have some rest in the events. All right, you can kind of rely a little bit on that partner, and I would say there's a little more fun to that competition than doing it by yourself.
Yeah, I remember doing sorry, Zach. I remember doing my first competition and like 3, 2, 1, go. You shoot out at like 110%. So it's nice to like have a forced break in there when your partner goes to kind of tell you to like, okay, relax. Like, this is more than just a minute-long competition.
Well, I know for me, when I think about partner competitions, it's all the stuff leading up to it. It's if you have a certain partner, they may get shirts together, and they may have something the week before the competition. We might all go to dinner together, or the month leading up to it, we're training together and doing different things together. You'll find the person that you let's say you team up with somebody for a partner event a month down the road. You guys end up training, you meeting every day at the same class or whatever it is. So it's definitely something where it gets, the process of it is fun. Just being on a team and having a partner through that whole process.
Definitely.
Yeah, you can hold yourself accountable. You have to show up to that same class or maybe do the extra training. I notice, as ours is coming up, people are really doing the competitors training together to get ready. So that's pretty cool to see.
What was your first competition or your partner competition, guys?
I don't even know.
Mine was the Pantheon Games, 2014, the end of 2013. And there was a couple friends of mine, Yuman and Roosevelt, a really funny team. Both of them were very new to CrossFit. I was very new to CrossFit, but actually I'd been doing it a little bit longer than them. Probably collectively, we'd been doing CrossFit 7 or 8 months collectively.
Wow.
Like maybe I had done 6 of those months. So it was just I remember I had more fun probably in the hotel and like at the dinners and everything than in the actual events because we didn't do very well. But I think that goes back to my first point, is it's just fun. If you can think back to being on a team when you're in high school or middle school or whatever it is, those were fun times. The ride to the game was fun. The ride home was fun. And I get the same stuff with CrossFit. That's why I'm so drawn to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you've ever been on a team before, if you've played baseball, basketball, soccer growing up, CrossFit totally brings that back for you. And then getting to do a competition with teammates, whether it be, you and one other person or you and 8 other people, it's just a lot of fun to get that team competitiveness back and, just trying to beat another team instead of just being on your own all the time.
Yeah, it gives you something to fall back on too, because if you're not, most of us aren't strong at everything, and especially if it's our first competition, we probably have some holes in our game. So if we can find a partner that kind of matches up with some of the areas that we're weak, chances are there's going to be at least a few areas that they're better at than us. It gives us a little cushion, so we're not, sitting there struggling through pull-ups. We have someone else that's there to help us along the way, or whatever it might be.
So should you pick someone that's more like you so you can dominate a pull-up workout, or do you find someone that can complement your weaknesses? What do you guys think is a better approach, just in general?
I think in general with CrossFit, it rewards balance. It rewards not having any weaknesses. Whether you're talking about the CrossFit Games or you're talking about your everyday local competition, the people who come out on the top are the people that consistently can be in that top 5 or top 10, depending on how many people are competing. But they're usually consistently at the top. They may not even win any one workout, but they're consistently at the top, and that's really what we see with our deadly duo competition. Mm-hmm. Those are the teams that end up. One bad workout can take you out of it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with a lot of the teams you saw last year who won, they had people that complemented each other really, really well. If you're a big brute that loves to move the pounds, like, you need somebody that's probably a little bit more quick and agile and a little bit more into the gymnastic side of things. If you have somebody who's really, really good aerobically, well, maybe having somebody who's very powerful and very strong would be really good to have on your team. So those are things to think about when you're picking your partner. Now, if you have somebody who's your friend and you're both really good at gymnastics, that doesn't mean don't be on a team together. You guys might actually win an event, and that's also really, really cool to do, to win a particular event, a gymnastics focus. So, in that, I would say don't just pick your partner based off of that. But yeah, if you want to do well in an event, you need to start thinking about somebody who's going to kind of dot your I's and cross your T's, so to speak, because you don't want to be left out there and then they can't help you out.
Brendan, you complete me.
Oh, thank you. I definitely agree with the point of your team should be balanced. Just checking out the standards of a competition. I mean, the deadly duo, the standards are on the board for that. And if you and your partner can comfortably say, we can do all of these as a team, that's a great team. And if you can't say that and say, like, all right, we're going to kill this lifting, but we're just going to look at the bar. That's it. We're just going to look at the pull-up bar, and that's it. All right, that's probably not going to be the best team. All right, but balance is key. You want to hit all those standards. You want to make sure that you can do everything on the board. Maybe plus or minus 1 or 2, but comfortably say 90%, 95%. You can get the standards.
Definitely. So let's talk about. All right, you're signed up. You got your partner. You guys complement each other well. What are the weeks leading up? What should we be practicing? What should we be thinking about day of? How can we really do our best possible job on that competition?
Good team name.
A good team name. I like that.
I mean, that's first and
matching
foremost.
clothes, right? Uniforms
good
always
outfits.
help.
Yeah, if you look good, you play good.
I believe in that.
If you play good, they don't pay good here, but that's the saying.
All right.
You might get like a fit aid if you win.
Been known to give out a couple fit aids.
I think, we're talking about filling in the gaps of where you may be weak, your partner's helping to fill those holes. I think it takes a really honest approach to know where your holes are. Instead of just saying like, ooh, there's burpees in that workout, like, you should take those.
Yeah.
Like, but you both know that you're the better one at burpees, like, you should do it. So I think addressing movement by movement, as you see the workouts come out, as you see the standards come out, kind of be honest with yourself on what you're good at, not what you like, and just make sure you're really excelling at those things going into it.
And to that point, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but to that point, if you have a workout that's coming out, say they put the workouts out and you could see them before. Give it a try, give it a test, see how they go. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with doing a workout and then doing it again. More than likely, you'll do better the second time you do it. And then, if you get run into one of those problems, we're like, hey, these toes to bar were a lot harder than I thought they were going to be. Well, now you can kind of shift plans and come up with a different plan of action.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I mean, planning for a workout. I mean, we all probably know this, but the perfect plan is not following the plan, because your plan never goes the way it should be. Something goes wrong, your hand rips, your grip's going, you're fatiguing out. Your partner thought they were going to help out. They're not helping out.
There's no chalk.
There's no chalk. Yeah, should have brought your own chalk, whatever it is. And yeah, just kind of going through the workout, like Zach said, get a little experience, but you don't have to stick to the program and be so strict about it.
Yeah, I think that's key. If you have a chance to do the workouts, to me that's a no-brainer. You got to do it together, because especially if you're not used to, like if you're a 6 a.m. person and your partner is a 6 p.m. person, you may think you're good at burpees, and you may think, and they may say they hate them, and they may say they're not good, but really when it comes down to it, you go into that workout, they might move pretty well. They might move better than you, because you're surrounded by a certain group of people at 6 a.m. and they're surrounded by a certain group at 6 p.m. Very different classes, very different strengths and weaknesses. So I would say as many movements that you guys can see each other do, even if you're just taking the standard sheets and saying, hey, let's bust out a set of 50 for time and divvy it up however we want, the more you guys can work together and truly see who's weaker and better at stuff, it's going to help out for sure.
Yeah, and out of all, I mean, we have regionals this weekend and going on in the weekends to come. I mean, those guys, after seeing the workouts, 100% did them, right? I mean,
Many
teams
times.
and individuals, and a couple times at that. So, I mean, you're talking about those better athletes. If they can see them and do them, they're going to do them, you know, to get the feeling. What does it feel like? What roadblocks are we going to hit, you know?
It's one thing to know what a certain set will feel like doing a certain movement, but what it'll feel like following this movement, or what it'll feel like doing 50 of this thing. You haven't done 50 of that before, so that's something you have to kind of assess and give it that time.
Yeah, Brendan hit on a little bit, like having a plan. Like you definitely need a plan, because if not, two of you are gonna not know what to do. But then being ready to quickly like ditch that plan. So I mean, can you guys think of any specific examples that you've used in the past, or how you would approach a specific workout? Maybe even like a chipper that we've done in here before. Usually our final event in a lot of our partner competitions is a chipper where you have 50 reps of something. So if you have 50 handstand push-ups, what are you saying to your partner to start that workout? Like how do you break that down?
Well, we're thinking about where do you think you're going to fail, and we can't get close to that point. So if you think you're having a number in your head, but you're also saying to your partner, okay, if whatever rep you get to, if you feel like you're starting to lose it or you're starting to fail, then you need to pull back before we get there, because you need to conserve some energy. This is a long workout. I'm going to need you again, potentially for this movement again if we're doing a chipper. So that's something that you're communicating with your partner is, hey, how do you feel? Where you're at, and you don't just rely on some number that you picked out before you started. But it's like, oh, well, I'm going to do 15, you're going to do 20. Well, if you're at 10 and it's burning, abort, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that you really have to think about.
Also, I mean, going back to that, let's say you're doing your 50 handstand push-ups for time, and let's say
You got Brendan on your team. He just does them all.
I can do 50 in a row. Let's say I can do that. But then we have
Look at the last 10.
we got clean and jerk. We have a max clean and jerk following that. Your shoulders are gonna be burning. You're not gonna know what to do when you get to that bar, because you just blew your workout before that. All right. So you got to kind of prepare, kind of tone it down a little bit, because you have something else coming up and you have events coming up, or so whatever it is. You got to just take it down a little bit.
Yeah, going into the workout and you see 50 reps, you do want to have somewhat of a plan, a number, 10, 10, 10, 10, let's do this, let's do that. Do you guys find that people will make that number too small or too big?
Too big.
Too big.
Too
Way
big for
too
sure.
big.
It's always too big.
Yeah, I think you got to
Always
give yourself a range. The rule of thumb I always use with myself, and if I am working with a partner or team, is how many reps can you do at your fastest speed? So if you take handstand push-ups, let's say when you're fresh, it's a second a rep. It's super quick. Well, once that goes down to 1.2 seconds a rep or 1.5 seconds a rep, get off the wall. Let your partner get in, because it's one thing to finish that set and to say, yeah, I got 30 unbroken. That was amazing. I've never done that before. But guess what? If your partner just did 10 and you got to get right back on the wall, you're gonna hit a wall. So I think you want to do as many as you can in that fast cycle time, that fast speed.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, if we're taking that handstand push-up example, and we're on the wall, and you're like doing your set of 30, whatever it is, and you're sitting on your head for 2 minutes. You're like, I still got this. You don't got this. All right, you don't got this. Get off the wall. All right, that's when you got to abort, like Zach said. So definitely considering how fast you can do them is definitely really key.
I think this also goes into a little bit of, and this may also tie into, the weaknesses of you and your partner and strengths of you and your partner, but you may have a partner who's really good at pull-ups. They've got 50 in a row, but they do them in a gymnastic kip while your other partner can do sets of 5 to 10 butterfly. Well, that might be a workout where you're gonna have to give away your strength a little bit because they just simply cycle them faster. And yeah, you're going to have to come in and do some reps, but maybe less than you thought, or you're not going to be able to come in and be the pull-up guru for this workout. You're going to have to be more of a team player, and I think that's also hard to do sometimes. It's, well, I'm really good at this thing. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but so are they, and you're kind of good at this, and so we're going to have to do something different. And that's part of being on a team. That's why we do it. It's part of the sport. It's part of the strategy, but it's all ultimately between you and your partner to decide what's gonna work for you guys.
I think also a big thing is if you say you're really good at something, but let's say that movement is in the middle of a chipper and you're dead dog tired, and you say, all right, I'm really good at these, but are you really good at them when you're under fatigue? Are you really good at them when you've done 50 burpees and 30 thrusters? Are you really good at them? Maybe not.
Yeah, and that's what our answer is. Usually people aim too high rather than really being more realistic about the number they can hit in a given set. And I want to just touch on your point because it shows up pretty much at every single competition, and we're not going to break down every movement here, but I think pull-up specifically is super valuable to know, is that a butterfly pull-up takes way less time than a regular pull-up. So that skill alone, I mean, if you're looking to do more competitions, that's really where the butterfly becomes very valuable for you. We don't necessarily recommend it to all of our members, but that one movement, that makes a big difference, the time that it takes. What other things do you guys think are good to kind of optimize between that team?
Well, maybe tying it with practice, but transition time between movements, practicing different styles of transitions. So you may have to all start on a placard and go to a specific barbell or a rower or wherever, and then run back and tag them in. Some do it differently, where you can just jump on and off the movement together and just stand right at that spot. Some do it where you have to complete a full round of a given workout, and then the next partner has to go in, and that you can't rotate until they do it. So those are all things to practice. Getting on and off the rower, getting on and off an assault bike that you have to share. I know how many times have we had problems with the rower? Not anymore, but we have had problems with it in the past. So we practice it now, and we make sure that that's solid before we go to a competition, because that is part of the sport, getting on and off the equipment.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key differences between a partner competition or a team competition and an individual competition is transition time can be the difference between the best and worst teams. I mean, if you're taking 20 or 30 transitions in a workout and you take 2 or 3 seconds versus a split second, that can be your 1 or 2 minutes difference, and you got to really practice that and focus on that and see how you can optimize that.
Communicate.
Yeah.
You have to practice how to communicate with each other. If you go into a workout and it's the first time you guys have worked out together ever, I mean, you don't have any understanding of how they respond to fatigue. How do they respond to things you might say during a workout? Do you have a way of saying something that all of a sudden is just going to put them in a place where they can't work out as well, or whatever it is? I mean, it sounds funny, but certain people respond differently to certain things, and if you don't understand that and you don't know how your partner works, then you're probably gonna have some hiccups starting out. You might be able to pick it up along the way, and I'm sure by the last workout of the event, you guys will be communicating probably much better. But it's something you'd like to have straightened out before you go into the workout. Is just, how do we communicate? Do we talk? How do they respond to things, and how do I communicate with my teammate? It's very important.
You could ask them, do you like to be yelled at or encouraged?
Yes. That's actually a great question.
It is a very good question. It is a very good question to ask.
I actually like to be encouraged. I know a friend who loves to be yelled at, so it's a great team. He's a very encouraging guy, and I love to yell at people. So.
And that's some stuff that you can't really just write down on like a whiteboard to like plan out. You gotta go through the training together and try out some workouts together and learn that about each other and learn how you're gonna move and how many of certain movement you can do before they have to switch.
Yeah.
If you absolutely can't get together with that partner, I think using like a 1-to-1 work-rest ratio as part of your training leading up to the competition can help a lot because it gives you an idea of like, am I pushing myself to the limit in my work time? Am I fully recovering in my rest time? And it gives you an idea of the work-rest and how that's going to work switching off with the partner.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, just to kind of detail that a little bit more, I don't know if everybody understands that term 1-to-1, but just going back to our handstand push-up example, kick up on the wall, do a set of 10 handstand push-ups, or pick 10 box jumps. See how much time that takes you. Let's say it takes you 20 seconds. Now rest 20 seconds and repeat that. Go back and do that same set of box jumps or handstand push-ups. Rest 20 seconds. Go back and do that same set. So even though you may not be with that partner, you get an idea of how those movements work for you, in that competition setting.
Yeah, and was your third round as good as your first round? Did you drop off completely? That's going to give you a good idea of could you hit 60 box jumps together in what amount of time?
Yep.
And if you do drop off, that's weakness. So you got to try to work on those weaknesses, just like we talked about last week. And you can't drop off. I mean, your partner's probably going to be staring at you. You're staring at each other. Time's wasted, and so you got to get better at those movements.
Yeah,
Ditch the plan.
Ditch the plan. Yep.
Exactly. Be ready to ditch that plan. One of the simple communication things that I see, and not to knock our judges and the judges I've seen at other competitions, but sometimes they don't know the reps, and simply communicating what rep you are on to your partner can be huge because, again, using 50 as kind of a simple number, if I get off my set and say, Zach, I'm on 12, and he gets done, he says, I'm on 24, and then I say, I'm on 32. Then, especially with that last set, we talked about transition times, when he says, okay, I'm on 46, hop up and do 4 more, I know exactly where I stand. If we're relying on that judge, there's almost always gonna be a 10 or 15 second back and forth where it's like, you don't know. And a lot of times, if, maybe there's a no rep mixed in, but if you guys are sure about the number, and they're not stopping you, you can move on to the next station. Now, if the judge says, no, I had you at 49 or instead of 50, you got to do that last rep. But more often than not, if you're counting and you're confident about your count, also too, if that judge loses count, they're going to rely on you. I remember me and Brendan were in the Clash of the Fittest competition, and it was a 1 rep max snatch right into a handstand push-up workout, and our girls were doing the hang snatch, and the judge was watching the final snatch, but at the end of that round, it went straight to the handstand push-ups. So she was recording the weight, looking the other direction, and Brendan was already on the wall doing handstand push-ups. And I was counting with my hand to the judge. By the time she walked over, I was on 8. And I was legitimately counting, but had I not been doing that, she would have missed all those reps. She would have started at 0 pretty much, or maybe gave them 2 or 3. So just count and communicate those to your partner.
You kind of hit it like the judging, a little bit of kind of don't argue with the judge. And so, I mean, with the in-house competition coming up, like, don't do it. All right, you're just going to waste time. It's a disadvantage to you. It's not going to help you in any manner. The judge is always right. All right, even if they're wrong, they're right. All right, you can't be arguing with them. Just nod your head and do the rep.
I think the best way to look at that is help the judge count. Help them count. They're going to have a tough time. Everything's moving around. Some of them may even be a little bit intimidated, I guess. They might see it. You never know what goes on. So if you have that where you're counting, they're supposed to be counting. Now, you don't know if they are or not. You hope that they are, but okay, so they lose count. Now you've got count. They're hearing it, and it's just a team effort there. That's the best way. I always do it. I always yell out the count to my judge, and I try to count my reps even if I'm the only person out there. A lot of times I'll do that. I'll count my reps out loud. I've had to do it many times where a judge, I know they've lost count. I know that they've already lost count, and I know what count I'm on, and I'll start yelling it out because I'm not doing them over.
Yep. Cool. So is there anything that you guys want to add? Is there anything you want to talk about in terms of right before the competition, maybe like the week of, day of, or anything like that, that we should be looking at or thinking about?
Getting ready for it, the competition. Let's say your competition starts on Saturday, because most competitions are 2 days, some are 3 days, some are 1 day. But let's say it's 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. You're probably not doing a 1 rep max on Friday. You're probably not doing a 1 rep max on Thursday. You're not laying on the ground dying. I mean, we talked about intensity, but your intensity is going to drop off a little bit on those last couple days. You're going to taper down a little bit. You shouldn't be sore on Friday. You should be ready to go. So maybe taking that Wednesday, Thursday light, Friday taking a day off, and then hitting that competition.
Yeah, and I have a quote from the ultimate competitor, Rich Froning. He says, "In training, you listen to your body. In competition, you tell your body to shut up."
Nice.
I love it.
I got nothing after that. Let's end it.
Yeah.